how would you address someone who says something about people becoming angels?
Wait a full day after writing the email.
Well, and this is the hard thing, because there's, the actual fact of the matter.
Yeah.
And then there's, how do you say that to someone, that it's probably tied up in some pretty emotional, stuff for them. Because first off, the fact of the matter is, right, you're right, that the Bible clearly differentiates angels and humans are not the same thing. We're not going to go to heaven and then when the bell rings we get our wings and whatever. That's not how that works.
But Facebook said it, so it's got to be true.
Facebook said it's got to be true. The internet would not lie, right? But so humans are humans, angels are angels. Humans do not become angels. Well, let's just straight out make sure that's clear. How would you express that to someone? This might be one of those things where I don't know there's anything major that hinges on it. So unless it's just really seeming like that idea is getting their theology just all twisted up, I might not make a deal of it.
If they're saying that about their case, I think where I hear it worse is where other people think that's comforting for someone else to hear. That somebody don't feel bad about your lost child. They're an angel now. One, it's not true. Two, nobody wants platitudes in this time of immense grief, and so I'm not as concerned. Like I'm with him. If someone else is comforting themselves with that and they're not getting all necromantic as we talked about earlier, then I would leave it alone and let them grieve. But I would want to intervene if someone is going around borderline harassing people with bad condolences and platitudes.
Yeah, if it's someone offering it, you might be like, hey, you might want to find a different way to, pull them aside and, friend to friend. I mean, now if it's just someone you don't know and you're just like, hey, you got that wrong. No, but if it's, you don't want to just insert yourself into strangers, things like that. But, if it's, a friend or a relative that you hear say that, you might just want to catch them and be like, hey, I heard you tell so-and-so that, their loved one is now, went on to be an angel. That's not really right. You're not telling them right things.
It's my first 3 funerals were 2 suicides and a baby that died. And then I have a sister-in-law who lost a baby out of the womb. And to this day, she still talks about it. And she's gotten healing. She's a good, godly woman, but she'll say how it made her so mad when someone would say, God just needed a flower in his garden, or God needed another angel. And she was like, well, I needed him.
Yeah.
And so I think our job as Christians really is to speak truth.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy, and it's not always fun, and you don't have to be hateful, but the funeral I did for the baby, that was the first thing I hit. Because sometimes the best way to talk about a hard issue is to talk about what it isn't. And what it isn't is God needing something. God doesn't need anything.
Right.
So that's wrong theologically anyway.
Yes.
God created us as humans and carried his image, the Imago Dei, which is very important. And why would we ever demean someone who died to angels? Scripture says we're going to judge the angels. So you're essentially demoting us. Don't demote me. Keep me a human. When I die, go ahead and say I died. But in pastoral care classes that I took, it's tough. And this is where I think we need to do better as leaders to train our body to speak truth. Is the thing that they always hammered into us is you speak the truth even when it's hard. So when I talk about someone dying, I use the term dying. I don't use the term fell asleep, passed away, this and that. I say, oh, they died, because it helps that person bridge the gap to grieving. I don't say it mean. I just say it like that. Like, I'm so sorry that person died. I'm so sorry that person is gone. Like, at least in my training from the counseling that I received, was you used language that helps them grieve the moment. Jesus was that way. He spoke truth. He didn't pitter around and dilly-dally and say, the lady at the well, he said, yeah, you're right. That's not your husband. And the last 5 you slept with weren't your husband either. And yet she evangelized the whole city and won them over. She's like, this dude is awesome. Holy moly, he just told me everything in my world I did wrong. It's like, it's crazy. But I'm with them too. If it's a friend and it's a personal thing, and my brothers have done that when our mom died. Man, she's an angel in heaven now. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, let me tell you what the 4th century Council of Jerusalem came up with. No, have some grace, you know.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
it's someone else saying it, like if Mark was saying that to someone because we had that type of relationship, I might send him a message and go, hey, man, you know, theologically saying that a child became an angel, it's hurtful to the parent.
Yep.
And you know that's not theologically true. And why would we demote ourselves to angels? We're going to judge that. I mean, there's a lot of ways to handle it, but it's a tough one.
I ran into an issue, well, it wasn't an issue. This young lady, much younger than me, like she was a degree. She had lost her father. She was in her early 30s, and I was good friends with that family. And her mother spoke of, he went away, when he left. She never used the word died. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
She until this day, she still says, when he left. That's her mother. Well, I was at the home, a couple of days after the funeral. And of course, his daughter was very, very distraught. She was very close to her. And I remember telling her, sweetheart, I didn't know what else to tell her. I mean, I was
It's tough.
hoping for
It's tough.
something comforting. I said, honey, please know that he's in a better place. And she looked up at me just instantly and she said, he wasn't in a bad place before he left. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
And don't feel condemned. I wasn't saying that to put
Yeah,
anyone on
same here.
blast.
Yeah, I think too, we metaphorically overuse words like calling people angel, oh, you're such a little angel, that sort of thing. The way we do the word love, you know, oh, I love strawberries, I love this, I love that. So that a lot of people are just kind of metaphorically saying, oh, well, she's an angel, not really meaning they really,
Could be.
you know, I mean,
Could be.
I truly believe that. I think your question was more in reference to somebody saying it to the person who actually lost it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the issue comes of hurt and all that.
yeah.
To the mom who said he went away and this and that, as a pastor, what I hear is grief, and that person needs inner healing. Like they need to be walked through grieving to come to the, because they don't want to. There's something there where you don't want to recognize the. It's hard to recognize the finality of death here. It's tough. It's tough for all of us.